Hello people, this is Power here with the review the 01 Others Kamen Metsuboujinrai DX Zetsumarize Key, DX Mass Brain Zetsumarize Key, and Metsuboujinrai Driver Unit. So this is the obviously set for the PowerRider key, the Zetsumerise key, and the driver unit for Kamen Metsuboujinrai, the fusion of the Metsuboujinrai riders, and luckily they kept consistency with the packaging of 01. So there's Metsuboujinrai on the side because they were lazy on these two sides to give him different pictures. Essentially the main animals of Metsuboujinrai. Really do like that this is the only time they appreciate Flying Falcon because he's been disregarded. Warning, warning, choking hazards. Die, children. And then the back, Metsuboujinrai. Yeah. So, let's cut to, the full package and then to the actual thing. Here's the set sealed. It might not look as different, but it will, because the DVD is literally at the bottom of the box, which is just insane. So yeah, get this huge blurb essentially just telling you everything that's included. We get the Blu-ray right here on the bottom, and then obviously a blur to the entire VSNX and such. Obviously, if you want you want to look at the actual contents of the Blu-ray, watch the opening I did. So here we have the contents out of the box. Obviously, we got the Mass Brain Zetsumarize key. I just spike these things now. And obviously the Metsuboujinrai driver unit. So obviously with this thing, it's a simple retooling of the 02 driver unit, as this part is the exact same, just slightly different, while this portion is completely new, as it's obviously a lot bigger in mass. So this one's a lot more solid and heavy than the 02 driver, which I appreciate. Again, this one is slightly retooled because this is now a octagon shape, and this one they actually remove the pin for the driver to hit, so this does not activate the 02 driver sound technically, which is kind of disappointing because it is really odd that we don't have another unit that activates that. Well, obviously we got the trans stamps and such. I really do like the color plastic they use, it's really neat. Obviously we got all of this here. I think we will actually talk about it when we actually put on the driver. And obviously we got the inside like so. Obviously this works the exact same as the 02 driver, which I'm not really too fond of, because at this point they did a good job at actually trying to make all the driver units interesting. So it is kind of disappointing this one is just the exact same. However, I'll say this one actually does a better job just because of this one being a lot heavier. So here's the 02 driver unit. Obviously this one's translucent plastic. Obviously this is a triangle. Obviously this one is a diamond, simply. So it is really neat they actually did essentially this thing is still mostly an entirely new piece. Obviously it's just not translucent, because obviously the details are still there. So obviously you can still see all those pieces here. This is where I was supposed to point. So, interestingly, they still kept this black. I think just to flow a lot better. But as you can tell, this one is obviously a lot like, this one's a lot lighter, but like my issue is that like this portion is way too loose. And then luckily with this one, it's not as bad. It's still really solid for the most part. Like when you flip it over, unless with like obviously sheer force, it's not gonna like, it will stay in place and such. You just don't want to like obviously exceed it, obviously. And I really do like the purple clear plastic that's obviously used to secure the driver or unit when it's on the 01 driver. But like other than that, like I really do like how they improved on the 02 driver unit with this. So I'm talking about that way too much. So next up we got the Zetsumerise key. I do not understand why they can no longer just call these PowerRider keys, because Zetsumerise keys, I don't even have one with me. Anyways, obviously this is a really neat retooling of the Arc 1 key, as they actually bothered to do a new mold. Like, I have to give them that. Like, so again, we got this metallic purple, not metallic, a translucent purple with white all around, and then we get the obviously helmet of Metsuboujinrai. They tried their best with this. Obviously it worked with Arc 1 just because of how he was, but like here it just obviously doesn't work as well. Again, the back is still a deep translucent purple. Sorry if it's coming off as blue. Here's the QR code for Gambarizing, or actually Butaba Gamba. Gambarizing was still around with 01, right? I don't remember. I think I had to say Butaba Gamba. This one is 043, so they still keep that in line. The speaker is here. There's a magnet right here, which I never realized. Yeah, I never realized this magnet for these keys. So I think this is for the 01 driver, but yeah, like, well, like before we compare, obviously opening it up, it's still functioning, works the same. Obviously we get mass brain circuitry, and obviously this still goes together and such. So I generally do like this one. So obviously got Arc 01 right here, but it's again just the same thing as Arc 1. So again, a completely new mold, which I appreciate. Again, like the PowerRider key itself, like the front of it, or just because the back is relatively the same design wise or texture wise. That's, I should probably actually start using that word, texture. But it's actually different because you can see here this actually has more speaker holes than this one. The speaker holes are actually like here, like that's, yeah, this is interesting. like I knew this one was like a new key in general, but like, wow, they made a new key. Anyways, let's go through the sounds. So you're gonna understand as to why the speaker holes are so minimum, and I think it's just because it's mostly this here. I can't tell, but anyways, the activation. So there we get the activation sound. That's a pretty long like build up, and obviously we still get the red LED there. Obviously we get our ability sounds.
Metsuboujinrai ability. Math range ability.
And then from here on out we get the phrases. Obviously we get phrases from the four main members of Metsuboujinrai, so Hirobi, Naki, Jin, and Ikazuchi. I don't think I'm going to go through all of them here, just because of... This is kind of the same level as the memorial stuff, where they're actually kind of lengthy, so... I'll stop there. I forgot to mention the symbol for this one. Again, I really appreciate this one. Like, again, I prefer this a lot more than, like, this one. I just never liked Arc 1. So, when you actually do hold the button down, we actually get the announcement of the Metsuboujinrai driver, which is obviously the mode switch. This one, obviously, mostly just skips the ability sounds. And then obviously just jumps to that right away. Yeah, I'll just... I should have let the other one play. Because I was just trying to just show that they're both the same. And obviously just hold it again to switch. Just switch back. So yeah, that's basically it for this key. It's kind of in the same standards as a memorial key, which is pretty neat. Like, I like that, well, obviously I do like it's pretty loud, but I'll get to the quality later as we obviously put this in the 01 driver. Not the 01 driver. Alright, so obviously, in typical fashion, we push this panel in, we pull out the front panel, and just like the 02 driver, we're going to align these two clips like so, and then we're going to slot this in. Obviously we're not going to get any indication of a mode change or anything, so don't freak out at that, and obviously just simply slide this through, and now we got the Metsuboujinrai driver. I think the enclosed mode, this is obviously the weakest. I do like the black being consistent with the 01 driver. Obviously though, it's just, this is obviously just, this mode just makes it really obvious it's just the 02 driver. And honestly, like, I don't know, I don't really think this side really flows well with this part. Obviously this is supposed to be a heart meter and such. But, yeah, let's do our traditional belt stuff when you don't authorize anything. I don't know why I do that. But yeah, so I am in the right, yeah, I'm in the right mode. So obviously to start the transformation process, obviously just like 02, just simply flip this panel over. Obviously the normal standby, activate the PowerRider key. and transform like so.
Metsuboujinrai. Quartet with unified will.
And then there we get the transformation of Kamen and Metsuboujinrai. I think it's pretty neat overall. And the Metsuboujinrai driver itself is pretty cool. Again, I think it really helped that this piece is a lot bulkier, so then it can... Because I really do like the fact that this cover actually like covers the entirety of the 01 driver, so then like it actually feels like its own thing. Yeah, I'm not too big on the way you start the transformation. I would have preferred if there was a way that like, or like, I don't know, I guess I would have preferred a way if like you inserted it and then it opened up automatically, because I think it does kind of ruin the flow of things of when you just flip it open and this is already all revealed and then it just slides through. I wish there would have been like a cooler way of this showing, because I really do like this portion of the driver, because obviously we got the Scorpion, Falcon, not Burning Falcon, thank gosh, Japanese Wolf and Dodo. And like, I really like the colors on this. Like, this is really cool overall, and like the bronze, like gold here paint is really neat, and just like the mass of the driver is just really cool. Like everything just flows really well here. So we do have two finishers, obviously. I shouldn't have spoiled that. Just like Arc Scorpion, there are two finishers. So this is the technically the main finisher, but it was done second. As you can tell, the finisher sounds are really long. And just, I really like how this, like, I really like the diamond. Like, the diamond is really distinctive and such. Because it covers up the entirety of the white dome. So it really does, like, a nice job at, like, changing up the look. And obviously, we do have our second finisher, which is technically the first finisher. Yeah, so obviously, two finishers we have are, and I just messed up, are the Metsuboujinrai Impact and the Mass Brain Impact. Obviously, as you can tell from Mass Brain, that one, I don't know why they, like, because I think they do have it, so, like, it triggers right when it presses in, but then it still doesn't align. Like, we've come this far in the PowerRider keys, and this is the first key where it doesn't really align with what's already pre-programmed. Like, even the Legend Rider keys did a lot better job. Obviously, you just slide that out like so, and now we hold the trigger. We hold the activation button. Gosh darn it, I keep messing up everything. So obviously you hold that down to switch that, because now we're technically in the memorial. This is the memorial mode. It's still directly called that in the instructions. So obviously activate it like so. What am I doing? So you, again, just transform again. And just, you know, transform the same way.
with unified will.
Yeah, CSM quality transformation. That's cool. It's just cool. Like, they finally incorporated stuff like this within V-Cinema stuff. Because it makes sense to include that kind of thing. It's just weird it took them this long to incorporate it. Because V-Cinema pack-ins, or V-Cinex pack-ins, are essentially premium Bandai items still. So it's really nice that they actually, like, kept this in line with the memorial stuff. Like, I really have to commend them for that. And honestly, I skipped over this, just like Eden and... Or I guess just like the 01 movie stuff, we do have character phrases when we press the button. I just didn't show them before, because I just wanted to show that you can... It's the same for both modes.
We will destroy you all. Go to Utopia. Zaya will be extinct.
So obviously that's the voice of Metsuboujinrai. And obviously we do have a new memorialized version of the finisher. So yeah, that's cool. And it actually doesn't actually restart where you were in the phrases. You can actually do things in chronological order. So we only went 3 of the 5 phrases. So
Metsuboujinrai will be extinct.
that's like as good as the Michi dying phrases. Like, that's... I like that's in there. I know it's horrific, but it's really cool they incorporated that. And obviously, to simply take this out of the 01 driver, simply press this button here like so to slide that through and lock that off. This one's obviously a lot more difficult, but luckily they gave you like... It's obviously difficult because it's a smaller button and it's a smaller space, but you know, you can always do it. Because the 02 driver unit, obviously it was like a big giant button here, but obviously I'm actually probably not going to go through much with the 01 driver because it's obviously, the only difference obviously is the authorization. If you authorize in both modes, it's the same.
Metsuboujinrai. Contact with unified will.
So yeah, it's all just the exact same. I kind of would have preferred if they just switched it to the chronological order it was in the V-Cinex of, like, you know, Mass Brain and then Metsuboujinrai, but whatever. Now we gotta show this thing and everything we have. So the first thing I'm actually going to have to mention is the Raid Riser, because I genuinely forgot about this when I was doing the demo, but you actually can't fit this thing in there. I don't think this thing is compatible with the Raid Riser or Zetsumerise because of how the helmet is. Obviously, Arc 1 is lucky because of how rounded that is, but sadly for Metsuboujinrai, this part of the helmet refuses to get itself in. So basically, obviously in the demo, I had to unscrew this entire thing just to remove this portion, so then I was actually able to use it in there. So if you want to see this thing in the raid browser, just watch the demo. Obviously, the only driver, or not driver, this is the visor, the only visor that did not get anything of a power-up of some sorts, and that's still annoying. Like, I understand why they probably didn't do it, but it's just kind of like, this and the 1000 driver get shafted so hard with actually getting power-ups. I forgot how this is framed. Obviously, in traditional fashion, we're going to have to press the button, obviously, when we insert it, which will obviously trigger the henshin activation phrase. That was weird. Obviously, in traditional fashion, this thing is horrendous. It's not this's fault, it's this. One thing I'm going to note is that with any other device that isn't the 01 driver, they actually have a Metsuboujinrai announcement that's in the same tone as Mass Brain. I understand why they didn't use it within the 01 driver, but again, that should have been the one they used when you authorize it. Because you can tell that when it's in this, in like the shot riser and such, you know, the phrase is triggered right when that button is pressed. But it's not like that for some reason with the 01 driver. Again, I don't remember if I actually showed this with Arc Scorpion. Probably not. But like the thing... Because I don't remember if we actually do have like other normal PowerRider keys that have two finishers that parallel. But obviously you can't get like Metsuboujinrai Utopia or Mass Brain Dystopia just because of how this thing works. Obviously, you have to play around with this. Like, you essentially have to play around with this individually just to time those and such. Pulling this thing out is so tiring. I really like how this works, though. Like, I feel like in the demo I should have actually just done this, personally. Gosh darn it. Temperature, woohoo. Alright. It's actually standing. Not anymore. Obviously, you have to press this again for the second finisher.
Zetsumerise. Metsuboujinrai. Contact with unified will.
Obviously, that works a lot better because Slash Res doesn't have any build-up sounds.
Metsuboujinrai blast.
Also, I just really like how this flows and such, just because of like the points and such. And obviously, I will show the fever with mass brain.
Mass brain blast.
What? I really don't like this thing. So this one is really weird, but I understand why they program it the way they did. So obviously we're in the normal mode right now, but we're gonna switch it to the memorial mode because obviously they locked the finishers to each mode, unlike Arc Scorpion.
PowerRider key confirmed. Ready to utilize. Metsuboujinrai's ability. Metsuboujinrai shoot.
Obviously, I apologize that I'm not showing all the attached case features. This video is already like nearly a half hour, so.
PowerRider key confirmed. Ready to utilize. Mass brain's ability. Mass brain. Kamen strike.
So yeah, well, this thing is gonna. So yeah, interestingly enough, it's only in the attached weapons they actually bother to alter the attack sounds, because as you can tell when you put it in the Shot Riser or Force Riser, they don't change it at all, which is pretty weird. That's kind of the only thing I don't like they carried over from, like, you know, the memorial stuff. But, you know, other than that, I think this is a really solid set for VESA next. Like, you know, I think the amount of phrases is right, you know, with how much content was in that VESA next. Obviously, I'm like 3 years behind, and I'm only on Thouser's debut for 01. But, like, you know, this set, in my opinion, just improves on a bunch of things. Obviously, first of all, I forgot to mention, this is technically the only, like, or this is technically the second retail art key, because I forgot this thing was technically retail also. So it's just really weird that, like, 01 was interesting where they just had premium molds for premium items in retail, which is pretty interesting. So it's just like these two actually being like DVD pack-ins are pretty interesting. That's what these were relegated to basically. But again, I really like what they did with this key overall. Like, and you know, Metsuboujinrai himself is like, or itself is pretty decent. I think it's probably, you know, I don't think it's that bad of a suit. I was never too big of Hirobi's suit to begin with, so for Metsuboujinrai being a retooling of Hirobi, I think works. And then obviously the unit, in my opinion, just improves on a lot of my issues with the 02 unit. So it's just like, I really do like this set as a whole. Obviously it's expensive because this is practically $40, and then you have to buy a $70 Blu-ray on top of that. So this is gonna probably be one of the more expensive VESA Nexus that you have to track down. Obviously, you can try to find this by itself, but honestly, this is really solid. I really do like this set. I don't know why I was kind of like thinking, oh yeah, I have some like negative things to point out about it. The only negative I have about it is just the speaker quality. I like the fact they like, you know, increase the volume severely, but like honestly, when we compare it to like, you know, the entire like toy line, yeah, it is really muffled, which is really disappointing because of the fact like I'm not asking for like the memorial quality of stuff. Like I'm fine with, or like I'm glad the memorial quality is in it. It is in here, but like you can tell it was definitely brought down to like a retail standard and such. But other than that, if you can find it for an affordable price, I definitely do recommend getting this set. Also, you know, it's technically another driver unit. Even though I do think, like, again, it's really difficult for me at least, but like this kind of has to be my least favorite driver unit. All simply because it is a retooling, but like, honestly, I do like it though. So it's just like, yeah. Now I'll have to do this review, so this power, and I'll leave you people. Bye.